They picked up a piece of meat from the table, and 10-year-old me was driven out of the house. Snow fell in a blizzard. I crawled into a garbage bin to keep warm. A missing person poster was mixed in with the trash, a color photo of a girl in a thick, cute red cotton coat, her hair tied in little braids. The girl was born the same year as I was. She has been missing for 6 years. I picked up a shard of mirror and held it up to my eyes, my nose, my mouth. My grimy, wax-yellow face smiled, just like hers, dumb and silly. There was a birthmark on her arm. On my arm, at the corresponding spot, was a bruise from a beating. Her parents couldn't find her, and my parents didn't want me. Maybe I should become their daughter. With that thought, I took the last dollar I had left, stood on tiptoe, and dialed the pay phone. The call connected. "Hello, is this to provide a tip?" I was so nervous I couldn't speak. "I am." "It's okay, go on, I'm listening." "I'm Ava." The man across from me fell silent, then seemed to stand up at once, his voice as gentle as cotton. "Where are you now?" I gave the address. The call time ran out just then. So cold. So hungry. Will they believe me? I wore an old cotton-padded coat with lint flying, my wrists and ankles exposed. I took a few steps, then my body stiffened and I knelt to the ground, making a hole in the snow. What if he did come? The man's voice was so gentle, he must love his child very much. I scooped up some snow and wiped my face, trying to clean myself. Curled up under the cardboard box, I stared blankly into the distance. Before long, a car pulled up not far away. A man and a woman got out, dressed fashionably, like people from TV. "Ava," the man called. "You didn't hear wrong, did you?" She said she was Ava. Could our daughter really be found? The woman's voice choked, her eyes searching the surroundings with hope. It sounded like a child's voice. "This time, maybe we really will find her." The man wiped at his eyes. He looked to be in his 30s, but half his hair was white. They called out nearby. My mouth opened and closed, too guilty to make a sound. I tried again and again, but no sound would come. Only when they got back into the car, disappointed, did the tailpipe start to rumble. I scrunched my face, my throat hoarse, and burst into tears. Night was closing in. When the little match girl died, she lit her matches and saw delicious food and a bonfire. She saw the grandmother who loved her. I rummaged through the trash. I had no matches, but I found a lighter with a little oil left. I set the pile of garbage alight. The snow kept falling. The fire was small. I threw some flammable paper and plastic bags onto it, and thick, black-green smoke billowed up. Why did she see nothing? She had her beloved grandmother to come for her. No one came for me. I crawled into the trash in a slump. The fire had gone out and the remaining warmth was slowly seeping away. Just sleep then. If I fall asleep I won't feel cold. I vaguely heard the sound of a car. I fell into a broad, embracing arms, and then into a fragrant, embracing arms. So warm, I closed my eyes and smiled. Are these my parents from another life? Take me away. I woke up to the smell of alcohol, in a white room. And 4 hung from my hand. I wore soft clothes. A rectangular unit on the wall was blowing warm air, like something called air conditioning. The wound itched so badly I wanted to scratch. The woman held my hand and had dozed off at the edge of the bed, murmuring, "Ava." They came back and found me. My heart thudded. I didn't dare move. I turned my head and watched the woman's profile. But my stomach wouldn't obey. It roared like thunder and startled her awake. She smiled. "Hungry, aren't you?" I opened the lunchbox and my eyes widened. A chicken drumstick, with fish, shrimp, and greens beside it. There was also fragrant rice porridge. The woman fed me herself. I swallowed and ate, habitually quick. She patiently picked the fish bones out and put the fish into my mouth, even peeling the shrimp for me. She didn't hurry me like my parents did, nor did she disdain my wolfish appetite. She only reduced the size of each bite, afraid I might choke. My nose went sour, my heart felt warm. Once I finished, I couldn't remember what anything tasted like. She wiped my mouth with a tissue. I kept my head down and whispered, "Thank you, Mom." The woman froze for a moment. "Say it once more." I summoned my courage and looked at her. "Mom." She laughed, tears streaming down her face, and I raised my hand to wipe them away. The man came in and saw the scene. A little awkward at first but growing familiar, I immediately called out, "Dad. I am Ava. I am Ava." I whispered it in my mind. That unwanted Evelyn died in a heap of garbage. He smiled awkwardly, ran a hand over my head, and a pang of pity passed through his eyes. He held a few sheets of paper covered in words. After Mom read them, her expression darkened and the tightness in her grip on my hand loosened. Dad said to Mom, "Let's go talk outside. Sweetheart, if anything happens, press this red button." Their silhouettes receded, and suddenly I was very afraid. I pulled out the needle and followed them. What will become of this child? Poor thing. She looks a lot like Ava. Where on earth is Ava? Could she be malnourished and shivering somewhere too? Mom cried again, and Dad held her. He looked up and saw me not far off. I hugged my knees and mustered the courage to move a little closer. "Mom, Dad, are you going to abandon me too?" "I'll be very good, I won't cause you any trouble." I held back my tears and spoke cautiously. "I'm Ava, really, I'll be very obedient." I forced a smile, imagining I was the girl in a missing person poster, trying hard to look sunny and cute. My cracked lips split, and a sweet, metallic tang spread through my mouth. They were stunned. Mom came over, crouched down and hugged me. "Ava, we would never leave you." She looked at Dad, sobbing uncontrollably, "She is our daughter. I can't go on living, she is a gift from heaven." Dad said quietly, "I'm sorry, Elena. I'm going out for a cigarette." I grabbed the hem of his shirt. He looked at my hand, and at the birthmark on my arm shaped like a crescent moon. His eyes were red, the muscles at the corner of his mouth trembling slightly. "Dad," I said. "Ah." Dad lost control of his expression and hugged Mom and me tightly. "Ava, these years, Dad has missed you so, so much." I breathed a sigh of relief, for now I wouldn't be abandoned. My body recovered quickly. The next day I said, "Mom, Dad, I want to go home." They took me home. Dad asked, "Where have you been living all these years?" I was afraid they were humoring me only to send me back. I shook my head. "I don't know, my head hurts." I slipped into Mom's arms. My body trembled. "Don't ask." Mom said coldly. "Come on, I'll take you to your room to have a look. I've been cleaning it every week all these years, watching you grow taller. I'd planned to buy new clothes, year after year. I wonder if Ava still likes wearing pink." I said, "Mom is best at picking clothes, I like everything she buys." Wearing it, it felt a bit baggy. I changed into the clothes I wore at 8, and they fit perfectly. But the person in the mirror still looked somehow off, neither one thing nor the other. It was my hair. My hair looked like a dog had chewed it, very short. The other day the woman who trims hair grabbed my hair and snipped so hard it felt like she was ripping my scalp off. She sold it for $50. Mom took the money and brought my younger brother to see a doctor. I cried hard, chasing after the motorcycle and shouting, "My hair." The person collecting hair stopped the bike, knitted his brows, and shoved $1 at me. Mom suddenly told me to take it off. She said, "It doesn't suit you. Tomorrow I'll take you to the barber to cut your hair and we'll buy new clothes." I smiled and nodded. Suddenly something came rushing in with a thud. My body was nearly shaken apart, my ears popped. "Sister. Have you suffered while you were away all these years? Brother missed you so much." He wailed, kneeling to meet my eyes. He saw the birthmark on my arm. "It's really you." Then he noticed the other scars. "Has anyone bullied you all these years? I'll go beat them up." Mom lightly smacked him, scolding with a smile, "Don't scare Ava, she's a 16-year-old high schooler now, stop making a fuss." This is your brother Eric. My brother snuffled. I handed him a tissue and called softly, Big brother. He is as kind as the sister next door. When he has time he teaches me to read, tells me stories. Last year he ran away from home and whereabouts are unknown. After crying he laughed like a fool, dashed off, then dashed back, clutching a pile of toys. Here, all for you. I hadn't even been in this house for half a day before I was dizzy with happiness. At night, lying in the soft quilt felt like floating on a cloud. A child suddenly climbed over, she gritted her teeth and tried to push me off. Get out, you're fake, don't sleep in my bed. When she couldn't move me, she opened her blood-red mouth, ready to bite. I woke up startled, it was a dream. I got out of bed and kowtowed to Ava. I'm sorry. I bullied you when you weren't here. I fell asleep under the bed. I woke up very early. Went to the kitchen to make breakfast. The aunt asked me, hungry? The buns will be steamed soon. I shook my head. Was about to go do the laundry when my mother got up. She pulled me out of the bathroom and told me to sleep a little longer. I took a broom and swept the floor. Though the floor was very clean, I finally found a single hair under the sofa. I went to wipe the windows again, standing on a stool, breathing fog onto the glass. The cleaner it was, the dirtier it seemed to become the more I wiped. I fussed until the sun came up and felt like I hadn't done anything at all. My mother watched me for who knows how long. Ava, here, you don't need to do any housework. I didn't believe her. I'm good for nothing. Will you not want me anymore? My mother gently stroked my head and answered seriously, your very existence is a tremendous blessing to your father and me. You only need to receive love and grow up healthy and happy. I nodded vaguely, all I had to do was play Ava well. After the meal, Mom and Dad took me shopping for clothes and got my hair cut short. A beret, a red cashmere sweater, black leather boots, I hardly recognized myself. The crowd surged. I held my mother's hand tightly, afraid of getting lost. She gripped my hand just as tightly. We ate at McDonald's, rode the Ferris wheel, bought lots of storybooks. Dreams I once thought would take forever to come true suddenly all came true in a single day. On the drive back, their faces grew cold. Mom and Dad's argument was gentle and soft-spoken. Not like Evelyn's parents' fights, which always ended with bloodied heads. I sat in the back seat, a bit carsick, eyes closed. They thought I was asleep. Whispering. Her parents will worry. At least we should file a record. Look at all those injuries on her, sending her back would be sending her into a miserable life, wouldn't it? Such a small child, calling me mom while pulling at me, my heart just breaks. You know, if our Ava were living like that. I wish someone would help her too. So they still didn't believe I was Ava. Dad said, I feel for her too, but it's not a solution. No matter what, her parents would be worried, right? He immediately contradicted himself. To throw a child out in a blizzard and leave her to fend for herself, what kind of person does that? Fuck. This child really does look a lot like Ava. If only it were true. The car stopped. I pretended to have just woken up and rubbed my eyes. Outside was the police station. Dad got out first, Mom led me to sit in the lobby. I wrapped my arms around her waist and burrowed into her embrace. Dad came out with a few officers. One of them took a photo of me with his camera and handed me a candy. I won't go. Mom said, it's okay. I whispered, an older boy gave me candy, tricked me into going out to the fields to play, and hurt my down there so much it really hurt. The uncle's face immediately grew grave. Dad clenched his hands, and Mom bit her lip until it broke. I felt like I'd said the wrong thing and hurried to comfort Mom, it doesn't hurt now. The big brother was bad, he fell into the ditch and died. The uncle asked, do you still remember where you used to live? I shook my head. I don't know. I'm Ava. Mom, Dad, I want to go home and sleep. Dad picked me up, and Mom fell back a few steps and said softly, we'll take care of her for now, this child is fated to be with us. If you've got the energy, you'd better use it to look for my daughter. It's been 6 years. As soon as we got home, an elderly person leaning on a cane was waiting at the door. She stared at me for a long time, then trembled as she came forward to greet me. "Mom, be careful. You're sick. Who told you to leave the hospital on your own?" Dad said, his face full of concern. "Ava, it's Grandma." She took my hand. "Grandma," I called affectionately. Mom and Dad watched Grandma with tense concern. Grandma and I sat on the sofa, her 50th repetition of "Ava, you're back," and her 100th repetition of "Ava, how did you get so big? Grandma loves to hold you." I answered over and over, "Yes, I'm back to see Grandma." Ava got bigger because Grandma got smaller. Grandma laughed, and I laughed too. Mom and Dad's expressions relaxed. They said that Grandma had been listless, but after I arrived her spirit and energy improved a lot. I run around the house every day, kissing Mother's cheeks, asking Father to lift me high, tugging Grandma's hand, and hiding snacks with my brother. Mother's medication went from 3 pills down to 1. Sometimes she suddenly stares expressionlessly into the distance, her eyes heavy with sorrow. I hop over, throw my arms around Mother's legs, and her face comes back to life. In just 2 months I had become 2 Evelyns. My brother had moved all the hidden snacks out from under me. Grandma would buy me anything. If I acted a little spoiled, she'd call someone and have a sack of food delivered. My parents were helpless and tried reasoning with her, but she'd forget in no time. I crawled out from the pile of snacks with a French fry between my teeth, and my parents laughed until their sides ached. Mom brushed my teeth every day. I quickly learned to brush properly myself and to use dental floss. I also gradually got my sweet tooth under control. Grandma was admitted to the hospital in the spring. She held my hand and slowly grew cold. Dad carried me out. His eyes were rimmed with red as he said, "Thank you." I realized that everyone who loved me would eventually disappear, and I burst into anguished crying. They said Grandma had gone to heaven, that we'd meet again in the end. Good people go to heaven, but I'm a little rascal. The bruise on my arm faded. I gritted my teeth and banged my head against the bedpost. Dad finished my school enrollment for me. I can go to school now, and I felt the straps of my backpack. I walked with my back straight, chest held high. In first grade I was the oldest, but also the shortest. When someone bullied me, I gave it right back. I'm Ava who gets bullied, and my mom and dad would feel so sorry. I'm strong and full of tricks. In no time, nobody dared mess with me anymore, and I even made good friends. After school, Mom and Dad come to pick me up. They ask if I'm settling in. I say, today the teacher even gave me a little red flower. Sometimes my feet don't touch the ground and Mom and Dad carry me. Sometimes I stare at the snack stalls by the street and pout, saying I want this and I want that. That won't do. Mama laughed. That one's out too. Papa said. Today's Ava's birthday, save room for cake and the big meal. Birthday, such a curious thing. Suddenly, a familiar figure approached. The woman said, "That cheap bitch must be dead by now, what's there to look for, and saves on food besides." The man said, "A woman with long hair and little sense, raise her a few more years and she'll be able to fetch a bride price." The woman scoffed, "It's all his fault, he got drunk and chased that man out. She was outside crying and he wouldn't let me open the door for her, said she was too noisy and told her to get lost. That night the snow was coming down hard, should have died long ago." I kept my head down, said nothing, and tightened my grip on my parents' hands. As we brushed past, I let out a breath I hadn't known I was holding. My parents' steps seemed to quicken too. A nightmare-sharp voice pierced my ears, "Evelyn." My footsteps stopped. I turned around. The woman was feisty, the man a rogue. They came charging like a whirlwind. "You look terrible," I almost thought I was seeing things. "But that pigeon-toed walk, very few have that." "My goodness, how did you turn into a ball?" The woman spat as she spoke, reached out and grabbed me, "Come home with me." My mother tried to pick me up but found she couldn't, she placed me behind her. My father stood in front of us, all bluff and bravado. Do you want to go to the police station or pay $100,000? At the mention of money, their eyes lit up. 100,000? Oh my God. No, 200,000, the man said. What are you doing? The woman asked, puzzled. Does his family have that much? Dad was about to nod when I said, I'm going back with you. Don't you dare take a single cent. I've got cancer, I'll be dead in a couple of years, and I'll infect you. I eat meat every single day, and I'll kill your precious son. No, let's drink pesticide together and die. He. Father, mother, I'm coming. I ran over, they jumped back in fright, astonished at how I looked. 100,000 for the deal, give the money? They can go to hell with their money. I was furious, my face burned red. Every day I went to gather firewood, came back to tend the fire, wash clothes, and look after my brother who couldn't walk. The meat was always set far away from me. That day, I was starving, swallowing my saliva. I quickly picked up a piece of braised pork and shoved it into my mouth. As a result, I was beaten until my teeth bled, accused of petty theft. My deadbeat father got drunk and left me outside. I knocked on the door all night, and he ignored me. I wandered aimlessly by myself, walked into town, and picked through the trash to eat. They gave birth to me, enslaved me, and still owe me. I took my head and rammed it straight into my father's chest. Dad, quick-eyed and quick-handed, stopped me. His gaze was gentle, and my temper immediately calmed. Ava, be good, you'll be the one who gets hurt. What Ava? Her name is Evelyn, the man said. Dad glanced at them, and they immediately cowered. I didn't know where Dad had taken them. Mom and I waited in the dining room. He arrived soon, carrying a birthday cake. I didn't dare speak, head bowed. Can I still keep being Ava? Who taught you to get sick, be contagious, and drink pesticide? On TV. Bits of laughter sounded. When I looked up, Mom and Dad were smiling at me with indulgent affection. Don't ever say you're sick or anything like that again, it's bad luck. Mom tweaked my nose. From now on, you're officially a member of our family. I closed my eyes and made a wish, may Mom and Dad love me forever. They treated me as Ava, whether it was genuine love or the love for a substitute, as long as it was love, I was content. I treasured the chance to go to school and skipped 3 grades in succession. I attended gatherings with Mom and Dad, behaving appropriately. In both academics and extracurricular interests I stood out, earning praise from others. Even though Mom and Dad knew I was pretending to be Ava, I still strove for perfection, imitating her cleverness and charm, and even the birthmark on her arm. Only my body was resilient, the bruises often faded in less than a month. I grew more and more afraid of pain. Once, when I was hitting my arm with a hammer, my brother caught me. He snapped, "What are you doing?" "You little fool, that's not important. Your status can't be changed. If you smash your arm, Mom and Dad will definitely abandon you." When I thought about it, that made sense. I might as well get one tattooed. But the tattoo parlor owner tattled to my brother. He grabbed me by the throat and dragged me home and tore into me. I begged him not to tell Mom and Dad. My brother sneered, stubborn to the death. I said, I know, my identity can't change, but in summer when my arms are bare and Mom's gaze passes over me with that faint, sad look, I can't forget it. If one day the real Ava comes back, I will be nothing, it's an unspoken truth. Is she all right? Where is she? He said, I have a way. At sunset we sat on the roof, he mixed pigments and painted me. My brother was a top, gifted artist, I could never imitate him. I always had him paint for me. It went on until I was 18. That year I was admitted to Jean University, becoming the enviable, someone else's child, clever, beautiful, and wealthy. Ava is like me, good at studying, writes beautiful compositions. Like me, athletic, took first in the boxing open. My parents were proud, then suddenly fell into an odd silence. I said, Dad, Mom, I'm going on a trip, with classmates. Is it safe? I said, don't worry. 3 boys, 5 girls. We're all good friends. I purred, I'll call mother every day. I matured early, handled things steadily, even knew some combat techniques, giving my parents enough sense of security. They agreed, reluctantly. Packing my bags, I left home for the first time. I took the train with friends to Nanture. The village had character, but they weren't interested. I grew up in the countryside and wanted to explore more, so we parted ways there. In the bright daylight, I wandered everywhere, camera in hand, photographing the mountains and rivers. There is no signal here at all. As I was preparing to leave, I noticed some movement nearby. I happened to be standing on higher ground and raised my binoculars to look. A woman in a red wedding dress came running over. She was out of breath and tripped on a rock, her sleeve was short, and when she stretched out her arm a birthmark showed on it. I looked at her face again and confirmed she was Ava. I had dreamed of her countless nights and days. I had kowtowed to her photograph. I had taken over her bed, her room, her parents. A dozen or so people were searching for her behind her, with someone on a motorcycle leading the way. In another 5 minutes they would have her back in custody. At this moment I could turn and walk away, go back to living Ava's life. But damned if my feet wouldn't stay planted. My mind spun wildly. I pulled $2,000 from my wallet, the wind snatched them away and sent them fluttering into the distance, causing an uproar. I slid down the slope toward her and helped her up. Do you remember what happened when we were kids? She muttered to herself in despair, they're coming any second now, it's over, it's all over. Take your clothes off, I'll help you. Huh? She looked bewildered. Idiot, what I say goes. I began undressing, her face flushed. She undressed, her body was mottled with bruises and red marks. She looked underdeveloped. I crouched down and tied her shoelaces. I handed her the phone. There's no signal here. Once you're out of the village, call your father first. She shook her head. Then what will you do? I flexed my muscles. I'm here to save you. Don't worry. I can't read, and I can't count. I dialed the phone, told her which button to press in a moment, tugged the hood of her dress up, hugged her tightly, and said, go, quickly. She ran, glancing back from time to time. I snarled, what, you a turtle? She quickened her pace. I heard the whine of a motorcycle, felt grit smear across my face, and she ran in another direction, wheezing as she went, don't chase me anymore, you bunch of idiots. A man heard the voice and said, the bitch is over there. 10 or so men came charging in a tight pack. I had the binoculars and could no longer see Ava. I let out a breath. Wiped the sweat from my brow and laughed. My legs suddenly gave out. I lived those stolen 8 years very happily. Thank you, Ava. I'm Mira. When I was little I banged my head and forgot some things. That girl said my name was Ava, the name sounded so familiar, could it be mine? She also said Mom and Dad had been waiting for me all along. Who is she? Is she the god who came to rescue me? You bitch, restless thing, let you run. Let you run. Sticks rained down like raindrops, I clutched my head and rolled on the ground. They dragged me back. Locked me in a room. There was a window, from time to time someone would poke their head in to look. Listening to people talk, I understood the gist. Women were scarce here, most of them had been kidnapped and sold. In Myra's household, the youngest son was feeble-minded. His parents had made plans early on and picked out a child bride for him, so they abducted Mira. Daughters were a profitable business. At 6 or 7 they could work, after their first period they could be sold, and upon marriage they still brought in a bride price. Originally they planned to wait until Mira grew up, have her marry the dull son, and on an auspicious day consummate the marriage. But the dull son refused outright, saying she was his sister. The couple tried every method, yet the son would not so much as touch Mira. Her father grew anxious and decided to sell Mira for a good price, to buy a new daughter-in-law for the dull son. He gathered the men of the village and auctioned off Myra's virginity. $10,000. 10,000 in 2008 was a lot. It was the idiot's son who let Mira escape. I feel like vomiting. The filthy surroundings, a flashback to 8 years ago, the food like swill for pigs. The men outside the window were already discussing the second and third candidates. The first man, who looked fierce and terrifying, had already handed over the money, and the fool of a father was counting it bill by bill. I am very afraid. I even began to regret this decision. Mira, you must run away, or I will not let you go. The foolish woman came in to make the bed. I pretended to be obedient. I'm sorry, mother. I'm hungry, have brother bring me something to eat, and later I'll look after that man properly. I slumped to the floor, pretending to have no strength left. The woman said, if you'd been sensible earlier, would you have had to endure so many beatings? Brother, I want a steamed bun. I knew the simpleton could hear me. He came in cheerfully holding a bun, and I grabbed it and ate. When I finished, I pressed the sharpened stick against his throat and hauled him to his feet. If any of you try anything, I'll stab, hit the main artery and you'll be dead in seconds. The fool tried to struggle. I leaned close to his ear and whispered, brother, please, I don't want to die here, I have to get out. You promised me, you won't call the police after we get out. I said, I know. His parents were happily chatting, seeing this, their faces tightened. Bitch, how dare you? They didn't believe me, so I cut myself first and the blood flowed out. The sound sliced through the air. See if I dare or not? I had to buy time. No matter what, I couldn't give up. Just like I did 8 years ago, I would fight with everything I had to stay alive. His parents panicked, their voices softened. Don't be impulsive. Luckily the fool cooperated with me, and I held him down for 3 hours. The sky was gradually darkening. The whole village was watching. Give me a cigarette, light it, put it on the table, I said. When did you learn to smoke? The fool's mother asked. Mind your own business. Hurry up. I forced it, the tip of the tree pricked and bled a little. A loose cigarette was placed on the table. I edged forward, using the fool to block everyone's view, and with my left hand I tossed the cigarette into the quilt. Before anyone reacted, I took the fool and walked out, heading for the village gate. Thick smoke began to billow from the house. Ava should have gotten out already. If someone comes to rescue me, they'll be able to pinpoint the direction quickly. The villagers formed a circle, eyeing me like predators. I swallowed nervously, my attention razor-sharp. After walking 200 meters, I saw a motorcycle with the key still in the ignition. My face lit up as I approached it. The fool asked again, you wouldn't call the police, would you? I don't want to lose my parents. I said, don't worry, I only want to get out. You're not my sister, I could tell just now, I can't trust you. The fool cried, you've all been fooled, Mira ran away long ago. Damn, the fool had betrayed me. A weight lifted from my chest, he pried my arm away and ran into his mother's embrace. Look closely, she's really not. She's plumper than Mira. So what's this woman doing here? Could she be sent by the police? Whatever, let me have a taste first. Laulu's right. Break her legs first. Whoever breaks them gets to sleep with her first. A furious beating ensued, I had no strength to fight back. If you beat me to death, you'll rot in prison for years. The others weren't convinced. There are plenty of people to kill, one more won't matter. I said to those parents, Mira and I are close friends. We'll take care of your son. Think it over, after all, the police are coming. How's your foolish son supposed to survive on his own? The madwoman heard and shouted, run. The police are here, I can hear the sirens. The others panicked. They took a few steps, sensed something was wrong, and came back. I was already on the motorcycle, but it wouldn't start, no gas. I laughed. If that's the case, then fight to the end. Kill one and gain one, I just can't stand that old Lou. I lunged forward and wedged my arm around his neck. My whole body wrapped around him. I wouldn't let go even if it killed me. As I was about to lose consciousness, I heard sirens. Someone was holding me and crying, "Sister! Sister!" When I woke again, I was lying in a hospital. There were flowers by the bedside. I painfully dragged myself toward the bathroom. In the corridor, Ava was catching up with Dad and Mom. Mom held Ava's face in her hands and cried, saying how hard it's been these years. Dad happily called his friend. Ava asked, "Who is that woman?" "She is." I couldn't bear to listen and hurriedly slipped back. The police came to find out what happened. I told the truth, and the officers were impressed by my courage and quick thinking. "Why are you so nice to that girl?" I thought for a moment. I owe her. On the way home, Mom and Dad were much more polite to me. I knew they were caught in a kind of awkwardness. I risked myself to save someone, and it turned out to be their own daughter. Should I call it impulsiveness? Or should I be grateful that my impulsiveness saved Ava? I didn't speak the whole way. Every time Mom and Dad saw the scratches on my face, they would turn away, unable to bear it. Actually, compared to Ava's old bruises, it was nothing, and it healed quickly. I have always recovered fast. Eric rushed back from abroad. He no longer cried like he did as a child, instead his eyes were bloodshot, and he wanted to kill everyone in the village. Ava was simple-minded. She said that killing people was wrong. The whole family laughed. I quietly returned to my room and packed my luggage. Downstairs, Ava loudly told the story of her years. At the sight of good food and pretty clothes, there was a chorus of croaking. I packed my certificate, a few pieces of clothing, and their group photo into a suitcase. Ava's room, its arrangement had never been touched. One last look. I pulled the suitcase and walked out. "What is this for?" "The real Ava has come. I won't disturb your lives anymore." My mother was stunned, her face flushed quickly. She looked angry, bewildered. I hurried to the door. "Ava," my father called. I turned back, and Ava did too. The moment was awkward. "Hurry up," I thought. I twisted the doorknob. A hand pressed against the door. I looked up. "Eric." He stared in disbelief, eyes wide. "Haven't seen you in days, and you dare call your brother by his given name? It's not like we're related, we could still get married." I narrowed my eyes and smiled. At that moment I harbored a mean streak. I just wanted to gross everyone out. Nobody understood me. My face fell. "Move aside." My usually graceful mother suddenly sat down on the floor. "Where are you going? Are you abandoning your mother?" Dad sat down on the floor too. "Over the years, you've long been our child. You're not a substitute for Ava. You're unique. It's our fault that you've thought that way all these years. We're sorry to you." Ava came over and grabbed the hem of my shirt. "Sister, we were just talking about how brave you are. I really adore you. If my coming has made you unhappy, take me with you." How can someone be so foolish? Eric's ears were red and bleeding. He looked as if he were bravely sacrificing himself. "As long as you don't leave, that's fine. Once we're married, we're family." "What?" Mom and Dad were speechless. "Ava, sister, marry me." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The feeling of being begged to stay was so good. "I'm already a respectable adult." I cleared my throat and sighed helplessly. "Look at you all, it's not like I'm not coming back. I'm a volunteer, I'm going to register at the school early. Dad, Mom, brother, sister, love you all, see you after the holiday." A lot of money was transferred into my bank account. I'm here, I can't give all my love to Ava. She needs security now, she needs enough care. I changed my name to Mira. On Sunday, I went home. Ava rushed over, chattering like an older sister. A clingy shadow. This year Mom and Dad set up branches in a few provinces and took us along to the media events, introducing us. This is the older daughter Mira, this is the younger daughter Ava. Ava has never gone to school, her head is empty. She trembles nervously in front of the cameras, not daring to look at the lens. I squeezed her hand. Little sister has a sore throat from a cold, ask me if there's anything. She looked at me with admiration. I turned her head, look at the camera. I became famous. My blood relatives came to claim me. In cahoots with unscrupulous reporters, they said I'd been abducted, accused me of coveting the trafficker's parents' wealth and status, and of consigning my biological parents to sleeping on the streets. I was going to hold a press conference. Dad said, "Leave it to me. I don't want you to relive the pains of your childhood." He patted my head. "You always overthink everything, you solve so many problems and worries by yourself. In all these years, have you ever considered us your own parents? Remember, your mother and I are people you can rely on forever." Dad. Hurt welled up in me. I buried myself in his chest and cried for a long time. From then on, my blood relatives never bothered me again. That week I went home and brought gifts for Ava. And 7 private tutors I had carefully selected. Ava scowled and began to hate me. Eric kept introducing rich, wealthy handsome men to me every few days. I fell for each one I met and ended up keeping a whole pond of fish. It was exhausting. Everything is a new beginning. For Ava it is. For me as well. The fool's parents were arrested for trafficking. There aren't many people left in this village. While Ava lived here, it was thanks to the fool that she was protected. Now, donated by the Wen family conglomerate, a rural primary school has been built nearby. He was in charge of watching the clock and, when it struck the hour, striking the bell. The fool often sat by the school gate, basking in the sun. Occasionally, he'd stare into the distance and grin foolishly. He held his hands out like wings. "Little sister, fly, fly high, fly far,